everybody, and welcome to the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. Become rain, shine, or anything between. We're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. I'm Ace Edwards, right alongside
Connor bounces away.
And I can already tell that this is going to be an episode that will heavily feature our respective cats making noises because, my cat is... my cat's excited, and now there is a cat completely blocking Connor's camera on my screen. That is a Winston. He is extremely loud.
Excuse me, buddy.
But if you're looking for this weekly recap, we're just going to be focusing on the women's team and the Batcats. If you wanted to hear about the men, I mean, they won the game up against Baylor. I don't feel like anything else in this season really matters for them. And I mean, we already talked about Tang getting fired and our favorite picks for head coach. Though this is technically insider information, so I will not spoil it. But there has been a candidate that has arisen that has man-made horrors beyond comprehension, but it doesn't sound very likely. Thank God.
Yeah, and with that particular candidate, it's more of a I'll believe it when we get something concrete sort of deal. Because the thing to remember with these jobs is a lot of names that get associated, especially early on. It's going to be guys that are
that's Winston, by the way.
Jobs through their agent, trying to kind of get them some name recognition. Because this particular guy is less than hireable. It's the level of. I'm just not even going to go there. The point is this guy, we would go from this show, I should say, already really not covering the program that much to I think we just have to start pretending that it didn't exist.
Yeah, it would go to active protest. And the hint that I will give is put Chris Jans and Greg Marshall into a blender.
And give them facial hair.
And that should be the spoiler. But anyway, let's talk about things that we are actually excited to talk about, and that is the women's basketball team. They have 3 games that we're going to be covering, 2 victories and 1 loss. The first victory that we're going to be talking about is the Oklahoma State game in Manhattan. And this was a game that, again, we've said it so many times before, this team's capable of winning or losing up against just about anyone. And this is a really good Oklahoma State squad who is probably tournament bound. I would say almost definitely bound for the tournament, NCAA tournament. But K-State was able to pull out with a victory here and, having 2 players in double figures, but a lot of other people kind of knocking on the door of double figures as well.
Yeah, this was a great game. It was one of, I thought, K-State's most complete games in quite some time. And, yeah, like you said, this is a really great Oklahoma State team as well. Had a really strange end to the game. The last couple of minutes just felt like they were never going to end. Because there was just constant fouling. There was a phantom flagrant foul on Jordan Spicer at one point. There was just a really, really bad call on a flop from an Oklahoma State player. And I was really not happy they went and reviewed it. And then also J.C. Hoyt for Oklahoma State. She called a timeout with 1.3 seconds left, down by 9, which is just inexplicable to me. I get playing to the final whistle, but there is a line, I think, of where you have constructively achieved the final whistle, and that is probably the 1.7 second mark, down 9. So I was a little bit surprised by that. because she's somebody that is from Kansas, spent time on the K-State coaching staff. I don't know, I guess. But yeah, K-State played great in this game. Nasha Claessens had 18. Tess Heel had 16. By far the two biggest leaders in this game. Gina Garcia had 9 assists and 9 points in this one, so a point and an assist away from hitting a double-double.
Yep. Tess also had a stuffed stat sheet, which we all know that we appreciate a stuffed stat sheet here on this show.
Exactly, yes.
But outside of those three, Brandy Herod had 9 points, Terrence Hyde 7, Jordan Spicer 7, and then Anaya Foy, who finally has a roster page. Finally has a roster page on the K-State website. And then Ivana Sekic all had 2 points. Both of them had it. So really good performance, though the inexplicable timeout by J.C. Hoyt. I mean, at that point, I get the never say die philosophy, but that's just kind of hater behavior, which part of me wants to respect because you kind of have to. Well, you don't have to, but I've always felt obligated to respect the level of hater that it takes to call a timeout. Like it, not in football, because that football I think carries a much higher inherent risk of injury, but in like basketball, it's like if you want to call a timeout, sure, that's up to you. You're just making yourself look worse, but I kind of respect the level of hater that it takes to do that.
I don't. I think it makes J.C. Hoyt look weak and stupid for that. So I don't know why she was wasting time with that. I was very annoyed by that whole thing. And I don't know. They're still going to make the tournament. They're still like a good squad. I don't know what the point was with that, unless she's just really obsessed with advanced analytics on the margin of victory or margin of defeat with the net, which to be fair, could maybe be a reason for it. But I mean, it was like 1.7 seconds left and they would have had to go, I think, full court to get any points. It would have been a difference between losing by 9 and then 7 or 6. I don't know. Just go home. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw the other thing in reverse with the men's team for one of our favorite coaching candidates, but that's in reverse and that's winning, and there's no other like good reason like in this particular case.
Yeah, especially because Oklahoma State does have like right now they're like probably pretty solidly in the tournament. They're 21-7, 10-5 in the Big 12. They just beat Texas Tech, who was ranked 16th at the time, by 10 at home. And they just blew out Utah by 18 at home. So they're sitting comfortably in a tie for 5th in the Big 12. Like, they're probably making the tournament. It'd take a historical collapse for them to not make it. And even then, like, their last few games, they're all strong opponents. West Virginia on the road, Iowa State on the road, and then KU at home, which KU is the weakest of that group there, but like they're still like a decent team at the very least. So like, I don't know. I'd kind of forgotten that happened until we started going over this game, and now I'm annoyed all over again.
Well, the next game's probably not going to make you feel much better, and it's the loss to Iowa State in Ames, 76-72. What ended up killing K-State here is just getting the 8 differential in the second quarter, 18-10. They were either winning, they won quarters 1 and 4, tied quarter 3, but the 8-point difference just ended up biting them in the second quarter. I don't want this to downplay the few efforts, though, because Terrence Ides had, I'm not going to say the game of her life, but she had an amazing game, dropping 23 points. And then Gina Garcia had 11 of her own. Jordan Spicer off the bench had 11. So like this is a performance that I'm not particularly upset with, especially because we held Audie Crooks to 20. Though free throws, I think is the Hilton Magic is not real. Let me say that Hilton Magic is not real. Referees are just very sensitive creatures who are very susceptible to crowd noise.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of fouls called in this game, which, being fair, K-State was able to get to the line a decent amount as well. They went to the line 23 times and they made 19 of them. Iowa State found themselves 28 times at the line, made 25 of them, including Jada Williams, who went 12 of 12. Iowa State, they shot just okay from the field, about 45% from the field, 33.3% from three. Like, that's average, but 89% at the line. K-State a little worse from the field, a little worse at the free throw line, basically the same from three. So, that's a difference. But K-State fouled 27 times in this game. Iowa State just 20. Audie Crooks only twice did she foul. I feel pretty confident in saying that she probably fouled at least two more times than that.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how the game goes. She gets a level of freedom with the whistle that Aoka Lee never got, and it really bugs me. That's how that goes. I don't know why Audie Crooks is a darling with the refs when Aoka Lee was not. I wouldn't mind if both of them were not, or if both of them were, as long as it was consistent. But that was something that we complained about Aoka Lee's entire career, really, was she never got a friendly whistle. She never got the star treatment like so many high-level players do. But Audie Crooks, she really does get coddled by the refs, and she doesn't really need it either. Like, she's a great basketball player.
That's the most disrespectful thing to me, is that she just does not need it.
Yeah, so I don't know what the deal was with that. But, yeah, this was still a tightly contested game. K-State played well. Ramaya White, a valiant effort, I think, just doing her best against Audie Crooks, really being the only player on the roster that has the size to go against Audie Crooks. But other than that, K-State really didn't have any huge bodies to go against Audie Crooks. Ivana Shekic, she only played 1 minute, and in that 1 minute, accrued 2 fouls, and then had an offensive rebound and a block. So it was a very busy 60 seconds for Ivana Shekic. But other than that, it was all double teams, fronting in the post, and smaller players doing their best against someone that they know is going to get the benefit of the doubt from the officials every time. So kudos to the K-State defensive game plan. I don't think they could have done much better than they did.
No, I don't think so either. And, you wear those on the chin, and then K-State decides to take that pent-up frustration and then beat the crap out of UCF in Orlando, beating them 93-67. Everyone played in this game. Just about everyone contributed something. Yeah, this was just flat domination from K-State, line to line. And there were times in this game where they didn't even look like they were playing the same game of basketball, honestly.
Yeah, that is definitely true. This was, to be fair, this is a UCF team that's just not very good. They are 10-16. They're 2-13 in the Big 12. So they're like about the level of our men's team, but take into account also that the best player for UCF, Leah Harmon, she was not playing in this game. So I guess just take an already bad K-State men's team and then take away PJ Haggerty on the offensive side. Not quite that good, but same level of impact maybe. So yeah, this was a shorthanded UCF team that already wasn't good anyways. And that's just a recipe for disaster, especially with a K-State team that badly needed a win that also caught fire from the field. This is a K-State team. They shot in the first quarter 81% from the field, 13 of 16. At one point, made like 11 of 12. I think they just were not missing. They badly needed this game, and it had to be a blowout. Because, I mean, at this point, you're looking at any tournament chances are very slim, and the door is almost shut. Not entirely, but just about. So it's a very narrow path to cross here. But K-State did exactly what they needed to do in this game, which was get out to a huge lead early, demoralize UCF, and then hold them at bay the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I really think that that's about it. There's nothing much to glean from the stats. Tess Heel had 19, Nastia Klassen 16, Gina Garcia 10, Jordan Spicer off the bench had 15. So those are the double-digit scorers. But
I mean, yeah, Gina Garcia, I think in particular, deserves a shout out for her great game because she had 7 assists and 0 turnovers on this one. And Terrence Sides had 9 assists, just 3 turnovers. K-State only turned it over 11 times, which that's kind of always been a problem for Jeff Mittie basketball teams is high turnover rates. So 11 is still a little higher than you'd like, but the assist to turnover rate was excellent. It's what you might have expected to see from last year's team. And then Gina Garcia also was perfect from the floor, 5 of 5. Pretty much all of her buckets, I think, were those driving scoop layups that she really likes, which I really like. I think they're very aesthetically pleasing. So I was happy with how Gina played, especially. She, I think, did a bit of growing up in this game. I was happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with your assessment on the tournament window. This just strikes me as kind of an NIT team. There's a sorry, I'm looking at the cat that is currently walking on Connor. But the next 3 games, K-State needs to pick up, I believe, one of them to be NIT eligible, and that's probably where they end up. They play KU, Baylor, and then Iowa State. That's an impressive stretch there, buddy. They need to win one of those games, and I believe that makes them NIT eligible unless 500 is the bar. No, wait, they would still need it. Yeah, anyway. I think that's the most realistic goal for this team, and honestly, I think that's fine for such a young team. I think that's a perfectly acceptable outcome. You're so muted. Connor, you're muted.
Sorry, it's these cats.
You're good.
Sarah, you need to get back here and control your man when he's not been behaving very well. Yeah. But one thing to consider on the women's side is there has been some consideration that the WNIT may not necessarily be the second level tournament anymore. There's been a rival competitor, the WBIT, that has really picked up steam recently, and it may be a tournament that K-State would go for over the WNIT. I'd be curious to see that if it comes to that, but yeah, there's still more basketball to be played. Obviously, you would prefer heavily to get into the NCAA tournament, and yeah, the Sunflower Showdown is a massive opportunity for K-State because, a home game against your in-state rival, I think you really got to have that one. On the road at Baylor, just 2 days later, that's going to be a tall task. And then finish Iowa State at home, hopefully able to get some revenge for that one. And then you get at least one Big 12 tournament game. So probably not going to be able to make the NCAA tournament. It's much more likely they miss than do make it at this point. It's not impossible though, but it would take a Herculean effort. Like we definitely need to finish the regular season 2-1, and in that case, you probably need to win at least 2 games in Kansas City.
Yeah, and either way, I'm so proud of how the team has done this year. Which, speaking of being proud how the teams have done, we get to talk about the Batcats, the long-awaited return of the famous quote-unquote Aggieville Alleycats Batcats segments. And they played a desert tournament, the MLB Desert Invitational. My goal for this was 3-1. I figured, just knowing how this team operates, I figured they would drop a game because that's just how baseball is. But no, they win. They win all 4 of them, 2 of them in hilariously dominant fashion, and then another in pretty dominant fashion in a game that I think that was not as close as the score would make it out to be, and then one actually really competitive game. But the first one is up against Iowa, where K-State won 15-6. And if you want notable performances, the best place to look would be the twin doing of D. Kennedy and AJ Avasco in this game, where D. Kennedy goes 2 for 5, but with 5 RBI. And yeah, he also hit a mega nuke, which that's not the first time that happened in this game. And then AJ Avasco goes 4 for 5, 2 RBI and 2 runs. Other than that, Kyan Lotus goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBI, and then the rest of the RBI are sort of pretty evenly distributed amongst the rest of the roster. But again, be prepared to hear D. Kennedy's name mentioned a lot because, I mean, he was the National Player of the Week. And there's a very good reason why he was the National Player of the Week for this last weekend's performance.
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. And anytime that you're able to put together a performance that earns you like Baseball Player of the Week and like Golden Spikes Player of the Week, the Shortstop of the Week, and like co-hitter of the week nationally. Anytime you're able to do that, when Baylor had a player that had 3 grand slams in one game, that means that you had a stellar week. Frankly, I'd imagine there's probably some Baylor fans and also Baylor baseball players that are very annoyed that D. Kennedy had as good of a weekend as he did, because you probably were thinking after a 3 grand slam performance that you were going to run away with some of the weekly awards. But no, D. Kennedy put together a consistent weekend and was able to either outright or share a lot of these awards with Tice Armstrong from Baylor. So really excellent performances from D.
Yeah. And it's also worth noting that in this game, we had more walks than strikeouts, which that's always a winning formula. We had 11 walks to only 6 strikeouts. And I mean, if you're looking at walks, Robbie Bolin had himself a very good K-State debut with 3 walks. Shitar Inoue had 2 as well. Grant Gallagher, Carlos Vasquez, and Bear Madliak each had 1. So first off, drawing walks as a leadoff hitter is awesome. You always appreciate that. And yeah, just keeping that level of consistency and making sure that you're not putting yourself behind the 8 ball, which is actually something that we got in trouble with the next game, but that's a next game problem. But I'm going to leave you to talk about the pitching performances, because the starter had a very fascinating stat line to me.
Yeah. And one more thing on the batting. Iowa's kind of a school that's been known for putting out really high-level pitching. in the past, and they were very high on their starter, Tyler Guerin, coming into the season, and we just blew him up in 3 innings, 7 earned runs, 5 walks, only struck out 2. So that was huge for us to jump on him early and never let them get comfortable. And if this had been a weekend series, this would have been fantastic because if we had been playing them in the 3-game series, we would have exhausted their bullpen in the first game. So all we did was really make it easier for other teams, which isn't that helpful for us. But our pitching, on the other hand, James Guyette got the first start of his career. He went 5 innings, which was the longest outing that he's ever had, and threw 97 pitches in this one, facing 27 batters. So very busy day for James Guyette, giving up 8 hits, 4 earned runs, but then 8 strikeouts and just 1 walk. Did hit 3 batters, especially early. Seemed like he was maybe struggling with control. But he had his moments in this one. And I think that's going to kind of how it's going to shake out with James Guyette is when the slider is working, he's going to be unhittable, especially for right-handed batters. But there's going to be some inconsistency here and there with James Guyette. But as the season goes on, I think we can expect him to get more comfortable. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that continues. But another guy that we saw was Cole Weisenbaker, which was great to see him, even though it wasn't his best outing. Not going to hold that against him. For one, it was a blowout win. For another, it's his first outing in 2 years, just about, because he missed all of last season with Tommy John. So Cole Weisenbaker, 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and then a couple of wild pitches as well. So it took him 49 pitches and 11 batters faced to get through his 2 innings. So not the best, but again, that's a guy that's getting used to pitching in live game scenarios again after missing a whole season. I think once he gets his stride back, he's going to be a huge weapon for us. Taz Butler, he came in as kind of the bridge man or the setup guy, pitched 1 inning, only faced 2 batters in this one, only 10 pitches, and that was all he needed. And Aiden Longoria, he transferred from USF. He closed out the game for us in this first one, and then struck out all 3 batters that he saw. Only took him 15 pitches to get through the 3 batters, and was able to close us out. But obviously, Guyette, kind of the highlight here. High strikeout count, which you like to see, and it makes sense for a guy who has an unusual arm slot and a really deadly slider. But hope to see him build some more consistency as we go through. And I'll be curious to see if he ends up being the starter for us down in Arlington when we face Auburn.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, he probably would be. The only other one that I could think of would be Liggett, but that I think takes us well into the next game, which was up against UConn, which was the most competitive of the games from wire to wire. In fact, K-State entered the 8th inning trailing by a run, but ended up pulling through 7-3 after a massive 8th inning. And as it goes with this one, AJ Vasco 1 for 4 with 2 RBI. D. Kennedy 1 for 3 with an RBI. Carlos Vasquez 2 for 4 RBI. Austin Haley gets an RBI by virtue of, I believe, a sacrifice bunt or some kind of walk. No, it would not be a walk.
It was a sac fly.
It was a sac fly. I was right with half of my assessment in the first bit. But it really was that 8th inning with the sac fly, or rather the throwing error, a sacrifice bunt on a score, a Vasco triple, a D. Kennedy single, and then a Vasquez double where it scored D. Kennedy. So really was that 8th inning that made all the difference. And this one you only had 3 pitchers, and you have a young gun, an old one, and then a transfer. So you kind of get to cover a little bit of everything with the pitchers here.
Yeah, Dante Lewis got the start here. It was a kind of more of the same of what we saw last year, which was times really flashing some high level potential, but ultimately struggles with command are what are limiting Dante Lewis right now. So he had 3 strikeouts in his 2 innings, but it took him 57 pitches. He gave up 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 4 walks, had a balk and a wild pitch. So he faced 13 batters in that amount of time. So not what we were hoping for from Dante Lewis at this point. So a little disappointing. And I'm hoping he can get more comfortable as the season goes on because he does have a great fastball. He has some great off-speed pitches, but the command is just not there right now to be a starter, I think. I think he needs some time in the bullpen to get things figured out. But Carson Leggett is kind of the highlight here. He went 5 innings in his first outing as a K-State Wildcat, and he's been here for almost 2 years now. But missed all of last season with a preseason Tommy John injury, or needed Tommy John surgery. It was a UCL injury. But this was his first outing. He was excellent. You can tell why this was someone that we wanted to be our ace last year. He goes 5 innings, 73 pitches, gives up only 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 1 wild pitch. Great outing for Carson Leggett. And then that set up Cohen Feaser, a transfer from TCU, to close out the game for K-State. He went 2 innings, 34 pitches, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts. So really effective kind of closeout for Cohen Feaser, who actually gets credited with the win here since K-State didn't take the lead until the 8th inning. So really good back-end pitching and relief pitching for K-State in this one. And Dante Lewis, I still think the potential is there as a pitcher, especially because he did have a really great summer as a pitcher. But for some reason, the K-State uniform is still not getting the command figured out.
Yeah, but he's such a young gun still to where he has time to figure it out. But Hunter, I'll let you take the offense for by far the funniest game of the weekend, which was a 24-5 run rule victory in favor of K-State up against Penn State. Now, I want to point out Penn State is bad at baseball. They've been bad at baseball for quite some time now. That does not take away the fact that this is very funny.
Yeah, I mean, like this is like a team that, like in the Big Ten, they were above 500 overall, but like 500 in conference, I think. But still not a great team. The Big Ten's not a very good baseball conference. So, like a record that would be like okay in the Big 12 is actually quite bad in the Big Ten. So yeah, this Penn State team not very good. And despite the final score, K-State did not score in the first inning. They went 3 up, 3 down in the first inning. Granted, with a walk, but there's a caught stealing for Robbie Bolin. But after that, K-State exploded, scoring in every inning for the rest of the way, including the 7th inning with a whopping 14 runs coming in the 7th. K-State winning 24-5. And then out hitting Penn State 21-9 in this one. And they also, on top of that, drew 11 walks to just 2 strikeouts, while Penn State only walked twice. So it was about as ideal of an offensive performance as you could imagine. I mean, as a team, K-State hit 21 for 36 in this one, and throw in 4 hit by pitches as well. So this was excellent for K-State. Robbie Bolin, 3 for 3 with an RBI and 2 walks, a perfect day for the leadoff guy, who we have very high expectations for this year. He was somebody that was probably underutilized last year at Nebraska, and he is showing early that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Dante Lewis pinch hit for Robbie Bolin, and then took it over in left field after a while, and he drew an RBI walk at one point in the 7th inning, which brought Micah Kendrick home. Grant Gallagher went 1 for 3 and drew 2 walks, did have the only 2 strikeouts of the day for K-State, but he also had a triple in this one, which if you remember last year, I think we were into like late April or like maybe even early May before we had a single triple, and that was AJ Avasco, I think. But I think we already have a couple this year.
We have 2. It's Gallagher and Avasco.
Yeah, so off to a hot start there. Gallagher put together a nice performance. Shintaro Inoue, he went 3 for 6 in this one with 2 RBI, scored a couple runs. It was a big game for him. Then, of course, D. Kennedy, maybe the highlight, if you can even pick one out. 4 for 5 in this one, scored 5 runs, 7 RBI, drew a walk, and had 2 home runs, including a grand slam for D. Kennedy in this one. Just incredible stuff from D this entire weekend. Then AJ Avasco, 2 for 4 with 3 RBI and a walk. Nick English was able to play in this one. He went 1 for 1, scoring a run. Kyan Lotus, 2 for 3 and was hit by 2 pitches in this one. And then Caden Carl, who we saw a lot last year as more of a defensive sub, did not hit very well, but he started off the year effectively at the plate with a double going opposite field, 1 for 1, and scored 2 runs in this one as a pinch runner and pinch hitter for Kyan Lotus. Micah Kendrick, he got his first start, went 2 for 5, had a couple of RBIs. Ty Smolinski started at first base in this one, 1 for 3 with a pair of walks. Bear Madliak, 1 for 2, drew a pair of walks as well. This was top to bottom a fantastic game for K-State. Everybody that went to the plate in this game for K-State got on base. So I don't think you can divine a better offensive performance for the Batcats.
No, and I think if you tried, you would just be talking yourself in circles and the game would have never ended. But in terms of pitching, you obviously get 2 fewer innings, but the pitcher of note is Lincoln Sheffield, who goes 5 innings, 85 pitches, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, a walk, a hit by pitch, and a Pete Hughes ejection, which I think that unintentionally became the story from this game because the home plate umpire is notoriously sensitive because he also was responsible for the controversial Coastal booting during the NCAA tournament last year of their manager. And there was a check swing. Lincoln Sheffield clearly didn't agree with it. Pete Hughes definitely didn't agree with it. And Pete pretty much immediately, got tossed. And I'm shocked that Lincoln Sheffield didn't get tossed at the end of the inning because he said something to the umpire immediately after the inning was over as well. So congratulations to Lincoln Sheffield for not getting tossed, but more importantly for having a really, really good day pitching.
Yeah, I totally forgot to mention it. Yeah, but Pete Hughes got tossed. I think it was the 3rd or 4th inning, and that was definitely, I think, a catalyst for this team going from what already was going to kind of be coasting to a pretty comfortable win to just unloading on a Penn State team that really didn't deserve it because it wasn't their fault. But that's kind of what it became, was K-State taking out their frustrations for what was just a bad ejection by the home plate umpire. And Penn State was the closest blunt instrument that they could use to punish the umpire. And they maybe went a little overboard with it, but that's okay.
Yeah. Then the next pitcher is Matt Flores, the UC Riverside transfer, who did give up a home run, but also had a strikeout. I actually thought he looked really, really good. I think his slider looks nasty in particular. So I'm very excited to see where he goes. Obviously, 1 inning sample size, giving up a home run, but there was a blowout at that point, so who cares? Then Miles Smith, I think technically, no, it's not a save, but he gets the last outs of the game, going 1 inning, giving up 1 earned run off of quite the fascinating sequence of walk, wild pitch, hit by pitch. No, I think it's hit by pitch, wild pitch, and then walk.
It was. I'm looking at the play-by-play right now. It was a walk, stealing second, advance to third on a wild pitch, and then score on a ground out. So I think we were willing to trade the out for the run when we were up 24-4, which I think that's a fair trade at that point.
Yeah.
Good on you for that. And then he took care of the rest of the side.
Yeah. So notable performance goes to Lincoln Sheffield first and foremost, but yeah, just destroying Penn State. And then the last game of the weekend was up against Air Force. And the reason I say it's not as close as the score says, because it's 11-8, and you think, wow, that was pretty close. The game was pretty well in hand. I mean, they score 4 runs at the end to sort of make it look better than it was, although K-State did score 3 runs the same inning they scored their 3. But, yeah, this was – I'm not going to say a blowout, but it was one that K-State was the wire to wire. That's not true. There was one point in this game where Air Force led, but it was in the first inning, and then it was pretty much all K-State from there, though they did have to use a few more pitchers than perhaps we're used to.
Yeah, and I think that's where Air Force was able to cut back into this game, was because Austin Haley, who was a JUCO All-American as a two-way player, we were getting him some innings to get his feet wet late in this game, and he gave up 3 runs. They were all unearned, actually, but he was responsible for the home run, at the very least on the score sheet, and that was just unfortunate because he relieved Robert Fortenberry in the 7th inning, forced a couple of in-play outs, but yeah, reaching on a fielding error in the bottom of the 8th, and then a home run just a little bit after went down as unearned by the scorer. It was a monster home run. They also listed unearned for a subsequent one, which I don't actually think that is correct because it was a solo home run, so I don't know how that could be unearned. But that's how they scored it. So congrats, Austin Haley. Your ERA is intact, I guess. But yeah, the story, I guess, is really Robert Fortenberry when it comes to the pitching in this one. But that, I guess, that's the reason that the game looked as close as it did, was we were just looking to get a few more arms loose and get some early experience.
Yeah. And if you're looking at the full list, Tanner Duke started, 4 earned, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, well pitched, 2 hit by pitches. Robert Fortenberry, who somehow is in the early game, turned out to be a good shout by me randomly saying, hey, he was a JUCO All-American. So early dividends there. We'll see if it sticks. He goes 3 2/3, 3 strikeouts, does not allow a single base runner, and 11 batters faced, which, wow. Then Austin Haley, you already talked about. Cole Weisenbaker and Taz Butler each closed out the game. But, yeah, pitching, fine. But, again, you have the man of the hour. Yeah, on offense, I should clarify. You get to talk about the offense.
Okay. Yeah, there was several players actually that had some really solid performances in this one. Robbie Bolin was fine leading off 1 for 5, but did plate 2 runs in this one. And then following him, Dante Lewis, he got the start in center field here. Robbie Bolin shifted over to left. He went 2 for 5, drew a walk, and then he also doubled at one point, so showing a little bit more pop than he did last year. Then AJ Vasco, 2 for 5 with 3 RBI and a triple. Chandler Murray came and was a defensive sub for him late. So it's been good to see Chandler Murray get some playing time early. Then D. Kennedy had an interesting stat line. 0 for 1, scored a run, but had 2 RBI, walked twice, and found himself getting 2 sacrifice flies in this game. So very eventful game for D. Kennedy, but goes down as an 0 for 1. Shintaro, anyway, 2 for 4 in this one with a pair of RBI and a walk. He was able to send a home run out going opposite field, in fact. Carlos Vasquez, 2 for 3 with a pair of RBI and a walk in this one. He was subbed at one point for Kyan Lotus, who pinch ran and scored a run. Grant Gallagher, who hit 20 home runs last year at East Tennessee State. We were kind of just waiting with bated breath the whole weekend to see when he'd break through, and he finally did in this one. Only 1 for 4, then drew a walk, but he was able to finally send a home run out of the park. Then Shea McGahan, who has been platooning with Bear Madliak, went 1 for 4 in this one. So far we've been seeing them in this first weekend at least alternating starts. McGahan, I think, seems to have a little more defensive upside than Bear Madliak. I think he's just able to pop a little faster than Bear. His Bear, for all of his excellent qualities, is a bit of a slow mover when it comes to getting out of his stance. But Shea McGahan has been getting some early run.
Yep. And that's the Desert Invitational. Now, K-State does have another tournament series, this time down in the state of Texas. And this one's arguably, well, it's not arguably, it just is a bigger deal than the Desert Invitational. And you could say that by just looking at one team that's playing, and that's number 9 in the country, Auburn. And yeah, I mean, that'll be a really, really exciting game that no one will get to watch because it's on Flow Baseball. And that's the case for all of this weekend's tournament. Goes Auburn, Nebraska, and Michigan. So 2 of the teams we've seen before. Auburn is new. But if we are able to beat Auburn, there's no reason why we shouldn't be ranked in the sort of college baseball poll the next week. I think right now we're actually projected, through one weekend, so take it for what you will. We're actually projected as a host seed in some analytics.
Yeah, some of the advanced analytics really like us right now. RPI has us at 30, which again, it's just way too early to make any projections based on RPI. I mean, for example, Auburn's at 185 in RPI right now. And that's because they had 2 nail biters against Youngstown State, including a 2-1 win on opening day and a 2-1 win in extra innings the second day. They blew them out on the third game of the series. But then Auburn, they actually dropped a game in the midweek to Cincinnati. They lost 8-0 at home to Cincinnati in that one. So they may be out for blood against the Big 12 here this Friday. So that's something to keep an eye on. Nebraska was actually down at the MLB Desert Invitational as well. They blew out UConn 12-2. They beat Northeastern, who was also down there, who's another school we're familiar with, 7-4. And they blew out Grand Canyon 9-1, and they lost to Stanford 11-6 on Monday. Kind of a similar form, form as we had down there, other than, of course, they picked up a loss, but they had a couple blowouts and a couple that were a bit closer, a bit more competitive. And then Michigan, we've played them down there before. They actually beat Oregon State, who was number 12 at the time, 5-3 in the college baseball series, also down in surprise. They beat Stanford 7-6. They beat number 24 Arizona 4-1, which Arizona is off to a horrible start this year. They're 0-4. And then they played Oregon State again and lost in extra innings 5-4. So this is a much better crop of teams that we're playing. This is a good Nebraska team, a surprisingly good Michigan team, and then a preseason SEC contender, Auburn. So that a few tough games coming up. And then you turn around right after it, and you're traveling to go face Louisiana Lafayette on the road in 2 midweek games, which they just lost a series at home to Missouri State, dropping the first 2 games, winning the second game, and they beat Rice in a midweek 3-0 in Houston. So 5 games coming up that we'll have to review next week. And these are all huge games, huge potential resume builders at this point in the season. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we're able to put together, especially looking forward to those midweek games just to see how far we're digging into the bullpen. Because surely this weekend we're going to have at least a couple games where we go pretty deep into the bullpen. I just imagine there's going to be a decent amount of scoring in those games. But then midweek, you're really going to be kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. And keep in mind, we haven't seen Aaron Arnold yet, who transferred him from Wichita State. We haven't seen Adam Arthur this year either. He is yet to pitch for K-State, and he's been a very reliable relief arm for K-State the last couple seasons. So there's a couple guys that are still completely fresh for K-State.
Yeah. And I also think it's worth noting that K-State is going to be playing 8 games in the course of 10 days, which,
they are going to be some very busy Batcats. But we are just a little over, at the time of recording, and the day this releases, though, will be a week away from their home openers against Columbia. We'll host a 3-game weekend series against Columbia and their apparently feline mascot that I do not know the specifics of. But yeah, the Lions. Yeah, that makes sense. That looks like a lion. So yeah, we have some big games coming up. No midweeks the following week. They probably need the rest. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a sprint here, especially these first 5 games of the 8. Some big ones, but of course you got to hold serve at home too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been an exciting start, pretty exciting week, top to bottom for K-State, and that's all I got. Do you have any final notes?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, if that's the case, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, I am at ACEdwards00.
I am at Connor Balthazar, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official Aggieville Alleycats merch store. Link found in our podcast and Twitter bio. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Aggieville Alleycats podcast. For come rain, shine, or anything between, we're here to deliver to you the Kansas State sporting news that you so love. Stay safe, Alleycats.